Everyone, I'd ask that you please rise as Pastor Tim from the Calvary Chapel leads us in our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Tim.
Let's pray. God, we come before you and we thank you for our city. We thank you for each public servant represented here. God, we ask that you would direct and guide the decisions made tonight. We know, Lord, that a city divided against itself won't stand. So we ask for unity. We ask that you'd help us to have a common vision. And God, we ask that you would prosper our community, that you would continue to help citizens be involved and engaged in the welfare of their community. So God, we just ask that you would continue to bless the great city of Fergus Falls. We pray for the upcoming events like Summerfest, Lord, that people would come and that there would be safety, that people would enjoy our community and have a good time. We just ask, Lord, that you would continue to help us to work together for the best of our community. And we thank you for this beautiful area that we get to call home. We pray you'd help us, Lord, to be good stewards of all that you've entrusted to us. So bless the meeting tonight. We pray this in the great and powerful name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2019. I will call this meeting of the Fergus Falls City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Yes, here.
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 Here. We have a quorum. The first item on the agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda, and I will call on our city administrator, Andrew Bremseth.
Good evening, Your Honor members. Thank you. There are a few changes to the agenda. You guys do have the most current agendas. A new one was sent out earlier today, but I will, for the sake of the public, read just real quickly what those items are. On the consent agenda, we've added a resolution approving the 2018 audit, which was the topic of our work session this evening. Had a nice presentation on that. We're adding 3 resolutions related to the road swap with Ottertail County. The first, revoking municipal state aid street Fir Avenue, MSAS route number 104. Second, revoking municipal state aid street Fir Avenue, municipal state aid route number 137. And then a resolution revoking municipal state aid street on Tower Road, which is route number 125. We've also added 2 items under new business, the first being a resolution of support for a 2020 bonding request for the downtown riverfront project, and then the second being a resolution extending the letter of intent for American Covenant Senior Housing Foundation for their project at the Kirkbride. We'll provide more details when we get to those items.
Thank you, Andrew. And with that, is there a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
I'll offer that, Your Honor.
Thank you, Jim.
I'll second.
Thank you, Krista. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Under public hearings, we have 3 final cost hearings this evening. The first is for Public Improvement 7753 Rolling Meadows Edition, and I will call on our city engineer, Brian Ybarro. Good evening, Brian.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good evening. Good evening, members. Before you, this is a final cost hearing for Public Improvement 7753. It's final cost hearing. Publications have been sent out, and individual assessment notices with individual final cost assessments have been sent as well, notifying this meeting. Type of the project, it's a construction of a stormwater detention pond, storm sewer, and outlet for Rolling Meadows Twin Homes development. This is a 100% petition project. Location, this is adjacent to Rolling Meadows Addition along Rolling Beach Trail from Pebble Shores Drive to 320 feet north and along the north side of the 3500 block of Pebble Shores Drive. Legal description associated with the final assessment is lots 1 through 4, block 1 and outlot A, Rolling Meadows Addition, all located within the City Hall, City of Fergus Falls city limits. Today is the hearing date, June 3rd, 2019, proposing an interest rate of 5%, assessment term of 15 years. Due date is July 15th, 2019, once first payments go out. The final assessment rates associated with the stormwater drainage system is $3,980.29 per unit. The final cost breakdown consists of 7 units at this stormwater unit rate, which equals $27,862.03. The city's share of the storm drainage, they're assessing 1 unit of $3,980.29 to the city. Additional city share outfall of construction from the property line, that's in the amount of $22,401. So, the financials of financing this project, PIR bond special assessments that will be activated in the amount of $27,862.03. And the city's portion will be coming from the storm sewer fund in the amount of $26,381.29 for a total project amount of $54,243.32. So at this time, I'm requesting you open up the public hearing for any comments.
Thank you, Brian. And I will just note that Councilmember Jim Fish has recused himself from the discussion of this item because he has an interest in it.
It's in my backyard.
It's in his backyard. With that, I will open up the public hearing for Public Improvement 7753. Anyone wishing to speak to this, please step to the lectern.
Jim Fish, 3514 Pebble Shores Drive. The only question I have is, there's only 4 of us there right now. Are the other 3 deferred,
They will be placed inactive on the storm.
inactive until you have, the locks are built on?
On the rolls. Yes, it says they will be activated upon the acceptance of this, all 7 units.
They're probably active right now, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so they're all going on right now?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other individuals wishing to speak to this? Seeing none, we will close the hearing. It's back to the council. We are looking for a resolution to adopt the final cost assessments for Public Improvement 7753.
I'll offer that, Your Honor.
Thank you, Justin.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Brent. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Hicks. Armisen. Fish.
Abstains.
Stay.
Hager.
Yes.
Swanson.
Yes.
Hooper.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Armisen.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. Second item, we will need a final cost hearing for Public Improvement 7187, which pertains to the same project. Again, good evening, Brian.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Today is the final cost hearing for Public Improvement 7187. This is construction of a sanitary sewer and water main services for this twin home development, just that we spoke to. Location, Rolling Beach Trail, Pebble Shores Drive to 320 feet north. Legal description of the assessed is lots 1 and 2, Block 1, Rolling Meadows Addition, all located within the city limits. Today is the public hearing date, June 3rd, 2019. Proposing interest rate of 5%, assessment term 15 years. Due date, first payment is July 15th, 2019. Of the final assessment rates, we calculated for sanitary sewer main per unit basis of $1,835.83 per unit. Sanitary sewer 4-inch and water 1.5-inch services combined, we're proposing $3,959.00. Cost breakdown for these sanitary sewer main at 4 units, $7,343.32. Special assessed combined for this sewer and water services, also at 4 units, $15,836.00. City's share portion of the sewer, portion of the frontage, is going to be $36,039.84. So total project cost is $59,219.16. Financing, once again, PIR bonds, special assessed active, will be the amount of $23,179.32. Sanitary sewer fund will be covering up the city's portion of $36,039.84. For a total combined funding source of $59,219.16. And in regards to the sewers, these become active once connected in this particular area. So at this time, Your Honor, I'm requesting to open up the public hearing for public improvements 7187.
Thank you, Brian. At this time, that's exactly what I'll do. I'll open up the public hearing for public improvement 7187. If anyone wishes to speak to this, please step to the lectern. State your name. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing, and it's back to the council. We will need a resolution adopting the final cost assessments for 7187.
I'll do that.
Thank you, Brian.
I'll second.
Thank you, Krista. Further questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Hicks. Oh, sorry. Just cross them off.
Monday.
Fish.
Yes.
Hager.
Yes.
Tommy.
Yes.
Rufer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Armisen.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. Item number 3 under public hearing is a public hearing for public improvements 5306, 7197, and 8215, the Pioneer Road improvements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Our last final cost hearing is in regards to 100% patrician project for Sunset Ridge Apartments, Phase 3. This was a petition project to construct sanitary sewer, storm sewer, water main, sewer and water services, and along with a 9-ton bituminous street. Location is on Pioneer Road from Village Circle to 430 feet east. Legal description of the assessed is Lot 3, Block 1, Sunset Ridge Edition, once again all located within the city of Fergus Falls. Today is the hearing, final cost hearing date, June 3rd, 2019. Interest rate, once again, of proposing 5%. Assessment, 15-year term. Due date, first payment, July 15th, 2019. I have the breakout in your packet and everything with the developer's petition. Their total assessment rate consists of a section of 9-ton bituminous street, sanitary sewer main, there's sanitary sewer service, water main service unit, and some storm piping. So the total cost breakdown between the city and Sunset Ridge Apartments, total assessed to be assessed against Sunset Ridge is $140,128.16. The city share, that consists of generally some future road expansions and oversizing, cost is an amount of $158,765.05. Finally, the financing associated with this project, public improvement, PIR bonds, special assessment that will be placed on active status is an amount of $140,128.16. General MSA money will help to supplement the street at a cost of $100,005.86. Sanitary sewer funds proposed at $27,402.97. The water fund in the amount of $20,457.78. And finally, the storm sewer contribution rate in the amount of $10,898.44 for a total project funding level of $298,893.21. Once again, notices have been sent out to the owner and we have not heard. So at this time, Your Honor, I'm requesting you open up the final cost hearing.
All right, we'll do that. We will open up the public final cost hearing for public improvements 5306, 7197, and 8215. Anyone wishing to speak to these, please step to the lectern, state your name. Seeing none, we will close the hearing. It's back to the council. We will need a resolution to adopt these final cost assessments.
I'll offer that, Your Honor.
Thank you, Jim.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tom. Any further questions? Yes,
Just
Scott.
one question. Brian, does the property that's across the street from this to the north, is that affected in any way by the assessments on this? Okay.
No, that property, because it's the connection to Pioneer Road, it's not directly benefiting from this improvement, so that's subsequently the city's share.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Hager.
Yes.
Tommy.
Yes.
Rufer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Armisen.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. Next item on the agenda, under the awarding of bids, is in regards to public improvement 9346 Airport Taxi Lane Relocation Project. Brian?
Thank you, Your Honor. The request before you is in regards to the 2019 taxi lane relocation project at the Fergus Falls Municipal Airport. On Thursday, May 9th, sealed bids were open and publicly read aloud for this project. We received a total of 3 bids at the time. Central Specialties submitted the lowest bid in the amount of $463,262.30. The engineer's estimate was $426,640. SCH and I have reviewed the bidding documents. And we have provided, we think everything's in good standing, and I've attached, SEH has also attached a award recommendation letter for reference. Just to cover the next step with this project, now we're going to be funding this submitting a final grant application for this project. So also included in your packet, SEH provided a professional services agreement for construction in the amount of $68,100. This consists of all the staking and up to final closeout documentation. And I just want to know, of that amount, $11,365 has been reserved for some testing. So this agreement will also need to be executed and sent with the package as well. So now that we have all the construction costs done, in typical airport projects, we're requesting consent to award of this project contingent on we get a funding breakdown that's covered in page 2. All this information, executed agreements are sent to the FAA and state, where in fact they'll review all the information and then send us a grant application. So if you turn to the second page, I have a funding share breakdown of all the anticipated costs associated with this project. At the time, we estimate the total estimated cost with actual costs known being $575,362.30. We estimate with this important airside need and the federal and state discussions so far, we anticipate receiving a grant in the amount of 90% from the federal government and another 5% from the state of Minnesota. So our local contribution for this improvement, we're looking at 5%. So at this time, we estimate the federal grant in the amount of $517,826.07. And then both the state and cities, both at 5%, around $28,768.12. And the city share would be, is proposed to be funded through the Airport 456 Fund. I just want to make a note that requesting an award on this, but this is contingent that we send the application in and we get all the information back. It'll be once again presented to the City Council. The FAA requires that we do have some consent, that the city's consent to this project, so that's what we're before you right now. A final, before proceeding with the project, a final grant agreement will be provided. So I'm requesting a few actions. Award the construction services contract to Essential Specialties in the amount of $463,262.30. And this is contingent on receipt of a federal and state grant agreement. Also, number 2, accepts SEH's professional services agreement for construction administration amount of $68,100. Third action, I'm requesting authorization for myself and SEH to submit the final grant application package to the state. And the fourth item, authorization to advance future federal entitlement dollars. I did not probably cover that too much, but we determined that we may be coming approximately $24,000 short of our federal entitlement dollars. We get $150,000 annually through this. In discussions with the FAA, they suggested we could just borrow future allocations to cover this balance. Just shortfall for this project to make it happen. So at this time, I'm turning it over to you for any questions.
Thank you. Brian, are there any questions of the council? I believe we can accomplish this through one resolution encompassing all 4 of these actions. So if there's someone who'd like to offer that, we can entertain that at this point.
I would offer that, John.
Thank you, Jim. Second. Okay, now, any questions? Brent, do you have a question?
No.
Okay, sorry. And that the entitlement, future entitlement, that's that 24,000, right? That's the shortfall from what we have currently banked up to what?
Yeah, so our next year, that'll be credited for our next $150,000.
Sure. Any questions for Brian? Roll call, please.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Hager.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Rupert.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
That resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. There are no petitions or communications this evening. Under the consent agenda, you have a copy in your packet. And you also have a copy, there is no copy on the board tonight, so for those in the audience, sorry. You have to trust us that there's 11 items on the consent agenda, and we can certainly get you, any of you, a copy of that. Is there anyone who would like to discuss any item on the consent agenda separately? If not, I would entertain a resolution to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that.
Thank you, Tom.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Brent. Roll call, please.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Hager.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Hoover.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Armisen.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. Under ordinances and resolutions, tonight we will have a second reading of ordinance 85, 7th series, rezoning of property from RA to R4 as requested by Platt Properties. This has been through the Planning Commission. It's been introduced. If there's anyone who has any comments on this, we could do that now. Otherwise, I'm just going to call for the vote. Roll call, please.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Hager.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Hoover.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Armisen.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. I'm sorry, that ordinance has been approved. Item number 2 is a motion directing the city attorney to draft changes to city code to allow for the interim use of permits. And I'll call on our city administrator, Andrew Brumstead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members, this is directly in relation to the conversation we had last Wednesday at the Committee of the Whole meeting regarding the wood burners in an industrial zone. At that time, we talked about conditional use permit being the way to go, and since then, staff was in a meeting, and our friend Annie Deckard from Greater Fergus Falls had joined us, and we were brainstorming, whether the conditional use permit made the most sense, and we ended up landing on an interim use permit. And unfortunately, city code doesn't currently have a process or call out anything related to interim use permits. So we need to establish an interim use permit process. And really what an interim use permit is allowing somebody to do a use such as that on a short-term basis. For example, the city attorney and I talked about a 5-year period for an interim use permit, and then after 5 years, they would come back and get the blessing of the Planning Commission and City Council to keep that permit intact. Conditional use permit is a perpetual permit that runs with the land, so it doesn't end when somebody changes use or when they sell a property. It's a perpetual thing that runs with the land, and an interim use makes a little bit more sense in this instance and several other instances that we've seen where it's probably good to have a check when the property changes hands, when there's different uses, and or from time to time related to neighborhood concerns and complaints as we've had with this particular issue. So what we're asking to do is have a motion directing the city attorney to draft changes to the code to allow for interim use permits. And then once that code language has been approved, we would come back before the bodies to ask for an interim use permit for the individual that appeared before us at our last meeting related to this wood burner in the industrial zone.
Someone like to make a motion to that effect?
I'll offer that, Your Honor, then I have a question.
Thank you. Justin. Brent, second. Now discussion. Justin, go ahead.
You had mentioned like a 5-year change in ownership, so is it 5 years no matter if there's a change in ownership, or would that be a clause potentially in, that's one that I have. The second one would be, is this something that would have to come before us each time there's an interim use, or would that be just directed at staff and approved that way?
And with your blessing, I would like to take another look at the conditional use permit language of our ordinance and maybe update that in addition to this interim use permit application. It's envisioned that there would be an application, much like a conditional use permit, but an interim use permit is really something that's a temporary, not supposed to be permanent, and probably up to a period of 5 years. So it could be even less. And you can, the council and the planning commission could place conditions, reasonable conditions on the interim use that would allow the interim use to be revoked if the conditions aren't met. So the process envisioned would be very similar to a conditional use permit process, where application is received, goes before the planning commission for review, study, and a recommendation to the council, and the council would make the final decision on issuance of the interim use permit.
Does that answer your question?
Yep, and then if the property ownership changed, would that person have to come back, or would it stay in use for that undefined time that you'll define in the code, and then they'll come back?
That could be a condition that it doesn't necessarily run with the property, it attaches to the permittee. So if someone else came in and wanted to continue the use, they would have to redo the interim use request. And the interim use would end automatically if there was a zoning change that clearly restricted their use. So, I mean, it's an effective way, I think, to retain some control, but yet permit a use on a temporary basis and retain control on the subject.
So is it acceptable to amend your motion to include having the city attorney look at the conditional use?
Yeah, I was going to look at the larger picture as I've been looking at some of these lately and trying to get us updated a little bit.
Yep, that's good.
I can amend my motion to reflect, have the city attorney adjust the, relook at the conditional use permit.
That's okay with that as well. Any other questions of our city attorney or our city administrator? If not, all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Tonight, under presentation of claims, we have claims in the amount of $1,559,803.57. And if there's any questions, we'll direct those to our city finance director. Seeing none, is there a resolution to approve the payment of those bills?
Pay the bills.
Thank you, Jim.
I'll second.
Thank you, Krista. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 That resolution is approved. There are no board, committee, or department reports this evening. Under reports from staff and administrative offices, I will call on Brian Yavaro to give us an update on public improvement 5290.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Just move quickly with that. May 30th here, we received 3 bids for our federal aid project. This is a resurfacing project on Lincoln Avenue from Trunk Highway 94 to Broadway Avenue. Central Specialties submitted a low bid in the amount of $1,116,967.46. The engineer's estimate for this project was approximately $1.4 million. So at this time, we're not looking for an award, just want to give you an update. I'm anticipating hopefully next council meeting to have all the subsequent approvals. Right now, we're working with the Office of Civil Rights and all the other required information associated with the federal aid project. So I anticipate hopefully next council meeting we'll have authorization and recommendation to award this contract. So, for any questions?
Any questions for Brian?
We're still expecting this to get done this summer?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I like that confidence. Thanks, Brian.
Please define summer.
Under old and unfinished business, item number 1 is city comments relating to the FERC license of hydro dams. And I believe, Scott Kwame, you had brought this up at the last committee of the whole meeting, so I'll turn it over to you.
We've had an opportunity to talk with you some and also with some others, and again, I think it's appropriate for the city, essentially being a landowner of many stretches of land along the river through the city, to put some comments on paper and submit to FERC as to what our goals may or may not be, or what our hopes may or may not be for this stretch of river. And to that, I'd like to offer this motion that would direct the mayor to work with members of the Fergus Falls City staff and city council to prepare a draft version of comments to be submitted to FERC regarding the Otter Tail Power hydropower relicensing project.
Thank you, Scott. Is there a second to that motion for discussion?
I'll second so we can have some discussion, yeah.
Thank you, Justin. I guess I just would say thanks, Scott. I think it would seem to me that it would be important for the city to, just stress the importance of the river, obviously, to us and to our downtown and some of the projects we're doing. There also, we have quite a few property owners along that stretch that their properties are directly affected by whether there's a dam there or whether there isn't a dam. So I think that's, interest in a number of different ways. But also, I think that maybe an opportunity just to state the fact that if there are some opportunities for the city to facilitate or partner in some of these projects for the recreational values, just at least to explore the opportunity, what may exist, and just to express our interest in working with. We've gotten very good at accessing different pots of money and bringing different people together. So I think it would just, I would agree that it would be in our interest to just state in a positive way that we would want to work with these entities in some of our goals. And again, just stress the importance of that river, so to our downtown. So that would be my thoughts, but other thoughts or comments? So your motion again, and you gave me a copy, so I'll just state it. It would simply be to draft, to direct the mayor to work with city staff and any council members who'd like to be a part of that, to bring a draft proposal together towards the next council meeting that then could be voted on, depending on what's in that.
Yeah, given that this particular comment period ends the end of this month, if we could put together some kind of a draft or see that done within the next couple of weeks so that we could approve it at our next meeting, that would be how I would intend it or expect it or hope that it would go. I didn't make that specific in the motion, but that's how I guess I would expect it would play out.
Sure. Other comments, thoughts?
I just got one, and I would just urge to add to it is, I mean, the public can submit comments themselves, but I think this obviously is a river that runs right through our community, so I think the public also, if they want to show support or things that they want to have done, I think they should let us know so we could get that into the draft, so we could review it before we would submit it.
And then vote on any comments that would
Right.
come out of that. Yes.
The public, correct me if I'm wrong, the public can make comments on their own.
Yep.
Correct? So it wouldn't necessarily have to be a part of
Their
what the
comments.
city
Right.
submits as well. So we could just encourage people to go to FERC and submit their comments there too.
Certainly. Certainly.
The document that FERC provides has their website, and it's ferc.gov. You can go there and follow the links, and anybody can put a comment on, any agency can put a comment on, and all of those comments become a part of the record and are published publicly.
But under your motion, this council would have the opportunity to see any comments that were proposed and vote on those before they were submitted, correct?
I was just responding to
No, sir.
the idea to
I
try
just
to
wanna
have
make
the
that-
public individually do comments, and
Make
that's
that
fine.
clear
too.
so that, you know, it would be a directive of the entire council if, whether or not any comments would be submitted, so. Any other questions? If not, all in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Under new business, we will need a resolution of support for the 2020 bonding for downtown riverfront project, and I'll call on City Administrator Andrew Bremsat.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members, as you all know, the 2019 legislative session just closed, and there was no bonding bill that was acted upon. So unfortunately, that leaves us with a shortfall on funding related to the downtown riverfront project. But they're already started working on the 2020 bonding bill, and that bill is, or 2020 is a bonding year. So we are having to submit through MMB's online portal to request to be in the 2020 bonding bill. That's a process that's well supported by Chairwoman Murphy in the House, and that's where the bonding bill originates. So the deadline for the submittal is June 14th, so we do not have another council meeting between now and then. And one of the key requirements is a resolution of support from the governing body here, the City Council. I will say that that process is important for getting yourself on the fall bonding tour, which both the House and the Senate do. So if you submit through this process and the council's in support of proceeding in this direction, will likely be one of the stops on the fall tours, which is, I think, vitally important to show legislators the project that's proposed and what that could mean to the community. So recommending that you all pass a resolution of support tonight so we can make that June 14th deadline and have a proper and complete submittal related to that project.
Thank you. I would just add that we were in the bonding bill that was agreed to as part of a compromise that was not allowed to be brought up for a vote, so extremely, extremely frustrating. We put a lot of work in this session, and again, we were there in the bonding bill that was part of a compromise that was not allowed to be brought up for a vote in the House. But anyway, just had to maybe vent that little bit of frustration. So with that being said, is there a resolution to
I'll offer
support for that 2020
I'll
bonding
offer,
bill?
Your Honor.
Thank you. Justin? Kristen? Thank you. Any questions, comments, discussion? Roll call, please.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Egbert. Yes. Conley.
Yes.
Rupert.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Ferguson.
That resolution is approved. Item number 2 is a resolution extending the letter of intent for American Covenant Senior Housing Project. And again, I'll call on Andrew Bremsat.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members, back in March of 2018, as you all recall, we approved a letter of intent with American Covenant Senior Housing Foundation to redevelop the east and west attached buildings up at the Kirkbride into low-income senior housing. The original letter of intent that was approved back in March of 18 was set to expire 18 months later, which would be September of 2019. The process related to the Minnesota housing financing application, which we've talked a lot about, requires that anybody that's applying for these funds has and can demonstrate site control over the site. The deadline for submittal to Minnesota Housing is today. The developer did in fact submit and complete the application today, so very glad to see that. And the awards for that funding application are made in November of 2019. So as a result, the previous letter of intent, or the current letter of intent, expires in September of 2019. The awards are not made until November of 2019, and that lapse in site control was concerning to Minnesota Housing. So I'm asking that the City Council pass just a simple extension to the letter of intent to cover that timeline. The language that I'm proposing here brings us out to December 31st, to the end of the year. If we need to extend it further, we can take subsequent action. If the funding is not awarded, the City Council retains the right to issue a 30-day notice to cancel and end the letter of intent, and that can be made at any time. So not a lot of risk in extending this. The application, like I said, was complete and submitted today, and there's been a lot of work that's been done from a lot of different agencies, a lot of different individuals, and we'll see if that's successful. We'll know more in November, but in the meantime, to really check that box and answer the concerns of Minnesota Housing related to lack of site control through their award period, I think it's appropriate that we take this action tonight to extend the letter of intent to December 31st, and then it would expire on that date and or before if the council wished to take additional action to issue that 30-day notice.
Thank you, Andrew. Any questions from
I would
council?
offer that.
Thank you, Jim.
Second it.
Scott, second. Any further discussion?
Second it.
Got a third over there.
Scott beat me. Okay, all right. It's a hearing meeting.
I just have one question, and this was, I support this, and I think it's a good idea. Earlier on, there was, I believe, at least some indication that American Covenant Senior Housing Foundation was expecting to be in some sort of a funding request that was going to be awarded earlier, June or July, that there was something that they were expecting a response to sometime this summer. Did that not happen, or is this that thing that's now pushed further down the line?
This is that, Your Honor, Councilmember Carney, this is that thing, and the reference was related to the deadline in June. So we've been pushing up to this deadline. Today is the deadline.
The deadline was June, but the award is until November.
It's in November.
That's what I didn't
And
follow.
they do work, there's a lot of related to the process between now and then. We'll have some indication,
We'll
I
have an
think,
indication.
probably prior to that. but
Successful.
That's the official date. And what I did fail to mention, Your Honor, members, and I apologize, is the application that they put in is only for East attached in this cycle, and they're proposing 41 units of low-income senior housing. If funded, they would proceed with the East Attached project, and they would have to do an additional funding cycle in the future to do West Attached. But they thought it was in their best interest to do one at a time, and that's not inconsistent with what they've said on the front end might be the case. So no concern from my end that they're only proceeding with one of the two buildings at this point. That was always a potential, and they determined in their best interest.
There's a resolution and a second and a third. Any other questions? Thank you, Brent, by the way. Roll call, please.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Fish.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Conley.
Yes.
Clifford.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Arneson.
Yes.
That resolution is approved. Under miscellaneous announcements, Summerfest is happening this weekend. Hope everyone can make it out there. June 7th is the fireworks display at Kirkbride Park. And so we thank everyone that's been involved in the Summerfest. I know they put a lot of work into that, so we need to say thank you. The parade will be downtown again, and the parade is on June 8th. So Summerfest is June 7th and 8th. The fireworks are June 7th with June 8th as the alternate, but fireworks June 7th. The parade's on Saturday, June 8th. It's downtown beginning at 6 p.m. And again, thank you to everyone with the Summerfest for all the work that they do put into that event. Committee of the Whole is June 12th, 7 a.m. The City Council meeting, next City Council meeting is 2 weeks from tonight, June 17th, 5:30. And then National Night Out, which was such a huge success last summer. There's a group that's putting together the plans for that. And this year's goal is for 50-plus neighborhood gatherings. And Gene Bowman and Jess Steinbrenner are the ones that are kind of leading that effort. So this year, just put it on your calendar. It's Tuesday, August 6th. There's, that's a couple months from now, but, just start to talk to your neighbors and figure out the best way for your neighborhood to be included in that. Again, their goal this year is for 50-plus neighborhoods to be involved and to build on the incredible success of that event last year. So thanks to the police department and the fire department as well for the work that you guys do in that event. With that, if there's anything else to come before the council, seeing nothing, we will be adjourned.